It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margee McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margee McGee, and with me, as always, is my co-host and friend.
Hi, everyone. I am Ramona Ramirez. Margee, it's so good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm fine. The strikes are over. It's
Uh,
official. There's a whole energy in this town that's like relief and hope, and like all of the things are restored.
so glad.
In 6 months, everyone will be like miserable and complaining about work again. But like at this moment in time, everyone's excited to get miserable and complain about work. So what
I'm
a thrill.
I'm so glad.
Obviously, it won't correct overnight, but at least everyone can start job
Everyone.
hunting and working again. So
Right.
it's all
Yeah,
good.
and if people out there don't understand how wide-reaching these strikes go, it's the cinematographers, it's the editors, it's craft services,
It's the dry cleaners, it's
it's the
restaurants. I mean,
right.
everyone has been
Everyone,
broken by this. So
everyone has been broken by this. It's California's one of their biggest industries, so it's major, and I'm glad it's before the holidays, and I just hope that everyone gets back to work ASAP. And fuck AI.
I didn't even read the deal terms just because I didn't want to get in the weeds. I just wanted to live in like the joy of like, it's over. It's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah,
But they wouldn't have waited this long if they were going to cave on anything. So I'm sure
right.
it's a great deal.
I'm so glad. Before we start, can I share a little ketamine therapy experience I had yesterday?
Yes, please.
Because it relates to Bravo, and it's so weird. So, the last ketamine session I had in October, this also happened, but it was way more intense yesterday. I watched Salt Lake City on Tuesday night. Yesterday was Wednesday. I went in for an office ketamine session, and this is where they inject the ketamine into my arm, and I have a much stronger journey there than I do at home. At home, it's now that I've been doing this for about a year, where I take these rapidly dissolving tablets, I sometimes have a psychedelic experience at home. Sometimes I don't anymore. It just kind of depends. Bottom line is that even if I do it at home and have a very mild experience, it's a nice way for my brain to get plastic and soft. And so when I say things like I allow compassion, I release self-judgment and self-hatred, those things are easier, like, those wires are much easier to uncross and re-put in correctly. So, it's 10 million times stronger when I do it in the office and they inject it right into my arm. I record my sessions with my voice memo app so that I can hear back what I was saying. Margee, I felt like I was in an episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I could see Lisa Barlow a foot from me. I could see her glossy, glassy hair. I could see the texture of her skin. And I was saying to her, "Stop being mean to Monica. Stop being mean to Monica." I listened to my session. And at one point, I asked my therapist who was in the room with me, "Am I at Bravocon? Am I in Salt Lake City?" And you do have one foot in reality. Other part of my body is in the experience. And so I was in this like weird Sims metaverse of Bravo because I had watched the Bravocon clips over the weekend on Peacock as they came up or on Reddit. So I just feel like I've been immersed. The fact that it showed up in my ketamine experience, it was funny to me, but also I did not expect that. I did not expect it. But my feelings that I have when I'm not on a psychedelic medicine and the feelings I have when I am are the same. Lisa is being a real fucking asshole to Monica.
She's
Now,
being awful. That was
since
awful.
since Tuesday's episode aired, There have been some articles that have come out that people have posted in the Bravo Real Housewives Reddit sub. I can't recommend that subreddit enough, even if that's the only reason why you go on Reddit. It's just fucking chock full. Apparently, there is a lawsuit that Beauty Lab and Laser has taken against Monica for lack of payment for services rendered.
Oof.
Um, so Monica has responded, Heather Gay has responded, and I am not going to comment more on it because I briefly read these articles. I skimmed through them. One of the things that's alleged is that she would book these appointments under different names. I don't know.
And then
And then
and then
she would skip on payment or had a payment plan
oh,
set
I
up.
see. So it looked like a
And
bunch of people were delinquent paying, but it was
I,
actually just
but it was
Monica.
actually just her.
Oh,
And
that's shady.
is that why, her mom, the car is under her mom's name? I mean, listen, I don't know about her credit history. Again, this is all things that people sign up for. If you sign up for this show and there's any skeletons in your closet, they might not come out the first season, the second season, but they are going to come out.
It's like
And
running a presidential
exactly,
campaign. Like,
oh,
you're an idiot if you
exactly.
don't think there's a whole section of human beings hired to do what is it called?
Opposition research,
Op
opposition
oppo?
research, oppo
What's this?
research.
That's yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah, that is the, reality of a real
yes,
housewife, is, like, anything that can be, mined for drama will make its
exactly.
way on screen, so
And fans will do this too, or not. Yeah, like people that are really invested in the Bravo verse. Now, I don't have the time to deep dive. If information was given to me firsthand, that's a different story. Like I said in the past when we were talking about Orange County, I know someone that knows Ryan, who is Jen's partner. And the minute I get the go ahead to either disguise this person's voice and have them on, or as long as this person can't be traced back, because I wouldn't want any negative repercussions to come from someone that doesn't have a dog in this fight. I hate
I
that
mean,
phrase, but
but is it, like, anything new, or is it
it's
just
really not. But
confirmation
I
that Ryan's
still, I would,
exactly who we think he is, you know?
no, but I love when I can get the details,
No,
but
I'm all for a firsthand
yeah,
account, but I'm just saying he's not gonna, like,
it's
scandalize the
nothing is,
nation.
no,
Whoever
mm-mm,
would report this would just have, like, details to help us affirm what we already assume is true
exactly.
of that creep.
Exactly. But it was interesting. It was just interesting yesterday that I firmly felt like I was in some sort of Bravo simulation while I was on my medication.
I love that. I kinda wanna work
So
that into, like, our theme song. Just,
I
like, a little, like, "Am I at Bravocon?
am I a Bravocon?
Am I in Salt Lake
Why is
City?"
Lisa being so mean? Yeah.
Oh my
Because my
god.
therapist is like, "Who's Lisa?" I'm all, "Lisa? Who's Monica?" I'm like, "Really?
I
What?"
mean, but
She's
this
like,
is
"What's
where
Bravocon?"
come on, lady. What do you mean, what's Bravocon?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I love that Bravo another way that Bravo is healing. It's
That
coming
is
in to a
right.
ketamine session, and clearly did you determine what was coming and you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but what
Well,
personally
no,
was motivating that?
this this is what, she talked about because I you have made it very clear that one of your biggest triggers is injustice and things not being fair. That is a huge trigger for me too. Top 3 triggers, and I have talked about this with multiple therapists, with you. I grew up in a dictatorship under the rule of a narcissist, a terrifying rageaholic narcissist. Things weren't fair on a daily fucking basis. Behaviors were not okay on a daily fucking basis. And everything was, for lack of a better term, it was just kind of allowed or excused because we were all terrified of my father. And so when I see it in the real world, and now that I'm an adult, I can't let go of how unfair it is. So when I see Lisa, who does not know what it's like, to the best of our knowledge, as far as what she's shared, when I see someone who has not grown up with an abusive parent that may or may not be a narcissist, that may or may not be a sociopath, for them to start lobbing insults at that person, I could stand up and throw the remote at the television. It is so cruel. Lisa Barlow was so cruel to Monica at that party. Was both of
Oof.
their behavior completely inappropriate? Absolutely. Lisa is wrong. I have been a Lisa Barlow fan ever since this show started. This season, I think she is an utter piece of shit. I think she's an
Mhm.
asshole. I don't think that Monica's perfect. I think Monica's very damaged. Obviously, we're watching it. I think that we can see where it comes from clearly. To be dropped off at someone's house at the age of 12 so your mom can go to New York and pursue her dreams. We don't know what these dreams are, do we? Or was she going to be an actor? Was she going to do whatever? I cannot fucking imagine the abandonment issues that
No.
must be woven through the thread of who Monica is. And it was I so that's what my therapist said. Anyway, I've shared that I can't stand injustice and things not being fair, especially when it's fucking adults who technically should
Yeah.
know better.
Well, and it's so clearly, to me, it's so clearly displaced anger and resentment. Lisa is really mad that her kid said fudge college and decided to go on a mission. Lisa is really
Oh.
mad that he's going to be in Colombia.
Oh,
She's
God.
terrified of Colombia, you can tell.
Mhm.
I mean, oh my God, that the confessional, I don't know if it was this week or the week prior when she was like, well, he's obviously going to be held up at gunpoint a few
Yeah,
times a day. It's like, no, not necessarily. And also
right.
come to LA. It could happen here. Like, I don't know.
Dude, tell me
And
about it.
I think that kid was just, I don't know. I think she has big feelings about the optics of Jack's decision. And so she's just lashing out in really weird places in really big ways. To say, like, no wonder no one wanted to be your mom was just like, whoa,
Jesus.
that is
And
a
then
bridge
saying
and a
you're just
half
like
too
her.
far. Ugh,
Oof. It's one thing if Monica had a sister and they were fighting like that
sure.
I could almost make sense in my mind. But a stranger, it's just it shows how little empathy Lisa is really capable of, and it shows how she is just a really judgmental person.
And
But my
cruel. She
therapist
has,
said,
yeah.
yeah, she said, Ramona, it really speaks to the fact that you have this attachment to things being fair and justice when it even shows up in your trip. So Bravo is really this podcast. I keep getting affirmed. The intersection of therapy and reality television is a legit intersection on the fucking Google Maps. It's there. It's not, we can't find this address. It's there. You can have
You
shit
dropped down a
shipped to
K
that
hole
goddamn
and
intersection. There's a fucking light. Yes. There's a turn
you
arrow at
dropped
that
down a,
intersection even. It's not even stop
yeah,
signs, goddammit. It's
protected
it's
left, all the
literal.
things.
It's a real intersection.
Yeah, you went down a
Exactly.
K-hole and landed at
A fucking
Bravocon, like,
sidewalk, a
that's
crosswalk. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I did. So, yeah. So that was just an interesting yeah, it was affirming.
And,
Anyway,
can I ask just so
please.
so you landed Bravocon in your during your
Yes.
trip, you guys
Mhm.
determined that that experience was about this sense of injustice that is, is
That's when I was in
important
Salt
and
Lake City
problem
with Lisa.
yeah.
Yes.
But then on the
Mhm.
other side of understanding what was at play there, what how do you manage the other side of that? Do you know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
like we landed in this place to figure out what the and had an experience. We figured out what the issue is. I'm literally
Mhm.
asking this for myself. I'm like, what? And now what do we do? Now that we know that we cannot stand
Ooh,
injustice,
that's a
how do
good
we rewire
question.
our brain? Or is that something that happens during the ketamine
I
therapy?
I
Or
think I think what happens is that we just have to we have the wiring when you repeat something over and over and over and over and over in your brain, like, it really does science has proven it really does it wires your brain a certain way to think a certain way. And unfortunately, the only thing to do is to continue to practice acceptance around that, like, yes, life isn't fair. It hurts my heart, and while there might not be anything I can do about how other people behave in this world, I can let it begin with me as far as how I'm going to treat God, what am I trying to say? It's like
It's
there's
making
nothing I can
total
fucking
sense.
do but accept it.
And that but
And when
that's the whole point is, like, awareness, acceptance. Like, the
Right,
only reason we're tormented is either because, like Lisa Barlow, we don't know what's really going on with us, so we lash out, feel terrible, and make that other people's problems, or we don't accept what's going on with us, and so we lash
right.
out, feel terrible, and make it other people's problems. So, yeah,
Yeah,
it
or it keeps me up at night, and it affects my life in the fact that, I'll be driving, someone will cut me off or someone will do something fucked, and I'm taken out of the moment in any way, shape, or form. I am distracted from what my kid's saying, I'm distracted from what other drivers are doing, and in the end, nothing is going to affect me. And so I have that choice to react or just not react. And the thing that helps with ketamine is that it makes your brain so soft and so malleable. And it's like, when a sponge is hard, you can't really do anything with it. It won't really even twist or fold until you get it wet. And
Mhm.
then you can manipulate it. And it's the same with ketamine assisted psychotherapy. When your brain is in that state, it's easier to override that hard set wiring. You're able to take apart that wiring and rewire it in a way that's healthier and less reactive, and it's it's truly a miracle. I needed a reset really bad too. My whole family's been sick for 3 weeks, and when I'm sick and everyone's home and I don't have any space to myself to think or just have a few hours where I don't have to deal with anybody else, I start to get when I'm sick, period, I get a little bit depressed.
Of
I don't
course.
know where it comes from. It's just like you're in the bed and you're resting and you haven't seen anybody and I don't want to shower and food doesn't sound good and I don't want to fucking drink water. It's like I just get a little sad. Add to that the fact that I get resentful that I don't have any space. I was really impatient by the end of last weekend. I was just so impatient. I was over everybody. No one was doing anything wrong, but it's just that my needs weren't being met. And depression is what I've been taught about depression is that it's anger turned inward. And so by the end of the weekend, I was getting snappy and impatient with Leo and Josh. And so I really needed that brain reset yesterday to because ketamine is also like it's a magic eraser. Like the mood and the things that are weighing heavy on me, it just it's wiped clean and I'm able to come in with a true perspective on life. So instead of being like, I don't have space and this is meh, 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 meh," it's like, okay, we were all sick. My needs weren't being met. Josh is working in the city today. Leo's at school today. I have the house to myself until 3 o'clock. Everything feels right sized again. Whereas before I had that brain erase, I would feel victimized by what was going
Hmm.
on. Because how do you ask for space when no one can leave the house? You can't,
No, I
you
think and
know?
that's the tricky part of, the awareness and acceptance of, like, I'm aware I would like space. I accept there is no way I can have space. So,
Right. So
it's
how can
like
I
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just tolerating the bad mood and
Mhm.
having patience until this too passes.
Yeah.
But that is a hard practice, and it's annoying. After being alive for 40 plus years, like,
Fuck.
doing that, so I'm like, when do you get a break? Never. You never
Never.
get a break.
I mean, it
So
just things get easier. So then when I got home from ketamine, while I was still feeling very melty, I put on a meditation and got some sleep, but I just wanted to take advantage of my brain being kind of malleable and listen to a meditation on self-compassion and self-forgiveness because I get very impatient with myself, you know? I've been on this road since I was 16. I'm 51. Shouldn't I know better by now? But
And you know
and I
better than when you were
I
16.
do know better than when I was 16. I know better than when I was 50. I am changing every day. I'm
Mhm.
impatient. I remain teachable though throughout. And this is a tool that has really helped me. And I'm eternally grateful that I am in a city and a state where I can find this. I'm grateful that I have access to it. I'm grateful that things that have made me feel very stuck, I feel that I can unstick them with this help because that's why I wanted to start ketamine therapy in the first place. There were things that I could not transcend or I could not get over the hurdle. I never thought I'd be able to truly and deeply go into the grief of my childhood because I was afraid that the pain and the feelings were going to kill me. How could I stomach it? How could I? I'm on medication. I don't know if I'll ever be off an not an antidepressant. I'm not on any SSRIs. I'm on it's a different class. I can't remember what they're called right now, but my point is there's only so much work that I could do that the antidepressants could do. And coupled with the fact that I felt like I was going to die if I really looked at my childhood, that's when my therapist said, "I think it's time to try ketamine therapy." I've been doing it for a year fairly regularly, and it's just a huge difference. When I went to Portland in April for Easter, and I hadn't seen my family and friends since the pandemic started. I met you know what? No, that's not true. I saw my sister, my mom, but I didn't see any of the extended people. And people remarked after I left that, "Wow, Ramona seems really chill."
That's huge.
It was huge. It was huge. And I'll ask Josh, I'm like, "Can you tell the difference?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, for
Mhm.
sure." And I still need it because I still get squirrely and agitated and can't quite get out. But this podcast definitely helps. The ketamine helps. And the ketamine also helps me have more willingness to get curious about my reactions versus judging them or just not dealing with them.
Mm.
Namaste.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
it,
it's
yeah.
always like, for anyone who has, like, feelings about drugs or ketamine or whatever, I it's just, like, what works for now. Like, nothing is permanent, but
Yeah.
this seems to be having, like, a really positive impact, and yeah, it's fascinating, and I love that you your first stop in your trip was
Oh my
Bravocon. Like,
God.
that's amazing.
It was crazy. And it was like I could touch her. It was like I could touch Lisa Barlow. It was
I
just a
believe
black
it, that's
background
wild.
and it was just her. It was just crazy. I wanna tell everyone, I want to encourage people to read the show notes, the show descriptions when we post the podcast because Margie is a comedy writer and her her show descriptions just are so fucking LOL. And what we started doing last week is including links for Margie included some links last week for 12-step programs. We're gonna start my point is we're gonna start including links in the show notes for things that we touch on in during the podcast. So I will when I post the show later today, I will put one in for ketamine assisted psychotherapy if anyone wants to do a little bit more research on their own. Yeah. So just a little motivation to go to the show notes. Come for the lols,
Yes.
stay for the references, the
Um,
resources.
yeah. So, should we talk about Beverly Hills?
Yes,
Let's
let's
do
talk about
it.
it. It's not about the pants.
It
It's not
is
about
about
the
the pants.
pants.
Last week, I I had such grand designs on, like, "Oh, this will be something, like, really we'll really get to know Sutton in a deeper way and figure out what this is about." It was about the pants. I think it was that superficial. This whole episode was, like, kind of a fun character study of Sutton, in my opinion. But the end was just like, "Oh, it's an old lady having a tantrum," and we spent 40 minutes of the episode on it. It was insane to me. I mean, I remember at the beginning of, or I don't know, whenever before, when Garcelle was doing press promoting Beverly Hills this new season, she was quoted as saying, "This season is much nicer." And everyone was like, "Ugh." And I was like, "This season is nicer. Everybody makes mistakes and apologizes in real time." And there's a couple, bumps at the end of this episode to keep us coming back for more. But oh my word, the first 50 minutes of this thing was just like, I don't know. It was cotton candy to me. I don't remember having any. I mean, maybe when I look through these notes, I'll be like, "Oh, yeah." But I don't remember having any, like, big emotional reactions to anything.
I
Uh-oh,
did.
let's talk about it.
I
Let's
did.
go.
I did, and I also
Good.
wonder if it's nicer this year again because Lisa Rinna is not on the show any longer.
Yeah.
Praise whatever god or universe or deity or whatever, praise whatever. I am
And she
so
didn't
glad
show up
she's
at Bravocon or anything, did
no,
she? Okay.
no, I don't think she was missed. I don't Lisa who? And I can see her right now saying, "Oh, well, you're still talking about me, so" it's like, "Yeah, I'm talking about you because you're not here and it's fucking better." But no, I did not think it was about the pants. I took Sutton for what she was saying, and we'll get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
I mean, we start with, everybody is having a snack, I guess, and Garcelle wants to go meet men, but she first wants to have an intervention with Sutton based on how she dates. Because Sutton never lands a second date, and then we find out Sutton sent bathtub pics to some guy she was dating, which was to me, it was like, "Oh my," because like, that takes some work. There's the danger of dropping your phone in the water, like, you gotta place your legs all cute, like, that is not just a you know what I mean? Like, that took some art direction, I'm sure. Um, her tiny legs, her little tiny toothpick
I
legs
know, her
coming out
little
of, like,
dancer
bubbles. I
legs.
know. And then she said she had her best date ever, which was dinner, backgammon, and nice conversation. And I was like, "Oh my god, you are so country club." It is really like it's so deep. It runs so deep in her. Because again, have you ever played backgammon?
I've never played backgammon.
It's great, but I've only played it at, like, rich people's houses. It just seems like a rich person game, and, I don't know, that the description of that date just made me die laughing. I was like, "That sounds so tame and so whatever." But the point was she never heard from him again because she asked him for their second date to fly to New York City for the ABT, American Ballet Theater Gala, and he ghosted her. And then I did think it was interesting, Dorit's confessional, where she said, she's like, "Oh, Sutton, like, you can't be that forward. I mean, what would I think if someone invited me to a black tie gala in New York City and sent me a plane ticket?" And she was like, "Oh, wait, that's actually quite sexy." And I was like, "Yeah, Dorit,
Yeah,
put your
yeah.
misogyny aside for a sec." But I mean, did any of this like touch you in any way?
I I could see it from both sides. I could understand her inviting him. I can also understand that it could be a little much. At the same time, when you're of a certain age, I think your gut can tell you if it's too soon or not to ask someone something. And when you're excited and when there seems to be a connection and when you think it's mutual, I don't know if this man was love bombing her or not, or if he was saying things like, "Oh, well, you know what? I've been invited to a movie premiere next week. You should come." When I found that when I was dating, men would say these things to me and then they wouldn't follow through, but I didn't know them to not follow through or that they weren't, they probably meant it in the moment, but then when they leave, they don't. But it's very confusing. And I think there is credence to when you know, you know. I mean, if people were to look at my courtship with my husband when it first started, we said I love you to each other after 2 weeks. To other people, that might have been really soon. But for us, it just felt right when we were talking about uh, how were we going to navigate the fact that I lived in LA. and he lived in San Diego. What were we going to do about that? And I wanted to say before we went any further, listen, I'm 38. I want to have a kid and be a stay-at-home mom. If you're not on board for this, let me know now because I'm 38. And to 99% of the world, that might have been like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding? Do you want him to run? But at the same time, it felt like it was something, a safe boundary I could put out, a safe bottom line, as I learned in SLA. That's what it was called. And I knew myself enough. I could not play that game. If that's not something that he was willing to consider, even if he wasn't on board for it right then, if it wasn't something he was willing to consider, if he didn't want to have kids, then we were going to have to stop and mourn and be sad and move on. So things were accelerated, but I could just tell. Now, that is just my experience. And I do think it can be other people's experience. But I I guess that's my long-winded way of saying, yeah, I could see where she was coming from. Inviting, you know?
Yeah, I mean, oh, no, I think the invitation, like, is not bad at all, and like you're saying, to your point, if this isn't a guy who's gonna accept an invitation like that, then he shouldn't be with Sutton because she's real clear that she wants someone she can boss around, you know? And, like,
Yeah.
if this guy's not game for that, then that's fine. Um, but, it sounds like the communication might have been failing anyway because she texted him her version of sexting was like, "Your triceps look good." And
Oh
it's like,
God.
"Oh my god." Like, I just think of her little legs in a bathtub and then triceps, and I don't know. And then we move on to some glam and getting ready vignettes. And this is where, to me, it is about the pants. So Sutton freaks out because she can't find her what? Her pants.
Her white
She calls
pants.
Avi
Yeah.
in and she's like, "You're going to lose your fucking job. You can't find my pants." So she is really invested in these pants, which we later find out she never wears pants. She brought these pants to get Magic Mike'd in. And yeah, and they like, yeah. This was to me, the seed was planted and I was like, "Ooh, maybe I had this wrong." So this is my confirmation bias also. It starts here in this seed where I was like, now I'm going to see all the ways that this is about pants. Yeah, and then we have Crystal, Erica, and Garcelle's glam squads. Who cares? Dorit does Kyle's hair, and there's no height, which I thought was a funny moment. We learn Sutton travels with her own ocean spray grapefruit juice and carries it in her bag. She is so, and this to me, again, this episode as a character study in Sutton Strake was everything because she's an incredibly rich lady. She could go anywhere and ask someone to squeeze a grapefruit by hand in front of her. She doesn't need to carry around a plastic container that she bought at Rite Aid or whatever. But here she is, can't leave home without it. I love people's like weird little
I do too. I
idiosyncrasies
love
like that.
them. I do. I do.
And then everyone gathers for, a little pregame cocktail. And here Sutton explains that she doesn't like pants and she doesn't wear pants a lot. And I think she wore them for the sole purpose of getting grinded on by strippers. And she has this stack of ones. Like she is all in on the stripper experience. And yeah, so the prosecution rests her case.
I understand that. I do. I think I didn't know that I think that if you're going to a strip club, it makes perfect sense that she would wear. I think this is at least what I thought. I wasn't sure what to expect from a Magic Mike show. It seemed once we got there that it was more of a show versus a strip club. So when she says, "Oh, I brought all my ones," and they're sitting, rows back from the stage, okay, yeah, this is not what I expected it was going to be. So she had expectations. I had expectations. And then they weren't, it was not that. And Erica also, when she was talking to Davis, who thankfully we find out is Mikey's partner because I couldn't tell them apart at all. They looked so similar. So when we learned that Davis is Mikey's partner, that made a lot of sense. And so it made sense to me that Erica said that, she's the one that told everyone to wear pants. And
Well,
she
yeah.
was following directions, and she probably thought it was going to be like a regular strip club where they'd come out and they give lap dances in the audience, or, you're there around the horseshoe stage and you're just tossing the
Well,
cash.
I think Erica knew that it is just a performance and you're not allowed to give ones in it's a stage performance. It's like an equity show, you know? And,
Right, like Cirque du Soleil shit, like, you can't just go and throw
exactly.
ones on there, right.
Exactly, and I think and Erica made arrangements for all of the girls to get on stage and have that experience, and Sutton got too impatient and, left before her turn, but I think
Hmm.
Sutton was really amped and horned up for this trip, and she didn't look into what a Magic Mike show is. She anticipated it would be, where I think it's her control step where she would be the one they would be coming to her and she would tuck dollar bills in their belts or whatever, and instead, 2 other girls got to go up first, and then suddenly she had this weird meltdown. Because, like, fine, if that's not what if you expected a more raunchy show or a more personal show, fine, storm out for that reason, but don't storm out and go like, "I am on the board of the American Ballet Theater, and blah, 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 it's not my brand." And then I'm gonna go to bed reading a book about tantric sex, talk about how I fuck twice a day and how I have all of the vibrators available to a
Oh my
woman on the planet.
god.
Like, what is
I
your
see your
deal,
point.
dude?
I see your point.
I
I
don't it just felt
do.
like a tantrum, that's all.
Uh, yeah, I I yeah, okay, you're
No,
making some
no.
good points. I feel very defensive of Sutton this episode because I feel that the ladies are using, with the exception of Crystal, it feels like the ladies are using any little thing. Like, they already clearly judge Sutton like it's their hobby, and so any little thing that they can use to judge her more, they're going to do it. I have felt I don't feel like that in with, like, my very best friend relationships, but I have felt like this, where I have been the one that's being judged for whatever, and it felt like no matter what I was doing, it was going to be met with some sort of scorn or teasing or laughing, and it feels shitty. And it doesn't strike me that these women are her real friends. And I get it. We are talking about the housewives. But I the mean and the pile-on and the bullying felt excessive and malevolent to me in this episode.
Of Sutton?
Yeah, it
See,
did.
I thought Garcelle was so patient, and I actually applauded Sutton because 'cause I've been this person before where I have a huge emotional freak out that is absolutely unnecessary, and then I get embarrassed, so I double down on it, and then I realize that I have no point, and I come back around, which is where I think Sutton landed in the Sprinter van where she was like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I called you a bitch. I've calmed down."
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like,
see, I gosh, I just don't know. I
"No, say
mean,
it. I'm curious because
no, I I
yeah.
let's see. So, yeah, I already said this. I wrote, to be fair, I wasn't expecting faux oral sex on the stage. I really did think that these shows were just lap dances and grinding, but and then I wrote, maybe I need to go to Magic Mike by myself, like, as some recon, do some research. Josh said he didn't care if I went, so
I mean,
let's
if you've
go.
seen the movie, you see what like, that's
Oh, I
exactly what it
haven't
is.
yet,
Oh,
but I
well.
should I should watch them.
Oh,
But
no, I mean, you can get you basically saw the movie in this episode. It's just that. It's like, "Hot guys," as Garcelle said, "Your body's so good, and it's so close to me."
yeah,
It's
I
just that
mean,
experience.
it's I so Sutton leaves. I personally, yes, okay, here's where I give defense of Sutton. She was sitting at the end. She was, yes, she is watching Erica spread fucking eagled. I obviously this was probably pre-planned because I think she said that's been her dance partner of however many years. So we
Mhm.
can all assume that this was something that we knew was going to happen, or that Erica knew was going to happen. The foral was not the faux oral. The foral was not.
I wondered what that amazing.
It was not spontaneous. So, yeah, when she sees that, and again, editors could be playing tricks on us. I have no idea. But, I see her put her, her head down. I didn't see her say to anyone, "I'm going." So I didn't perceive it as a huff. I perceived it as she got up and she left. Maybe she could have said to Garcelle, "I'm going to go pee," and then left, but I don't know if I was gonna be offended watching. So let's say let's for the sake of argument, let's say she is offended by the foral.
Look, I'm with you through this until we get to the other like, because she comes into Vegas with her pants and her singles, then takes this hard turn, fine. If what you saw was so grotesque, it really offended you and you had to get out of there. But then she's talking on camera, she's saying, "I'm on the ABT, this isn't my brand." Then on camera, she talks about vibrators and tantric
I
sex.
hear
It's like,
you.
dude, yeah, anyways.
That okay, that
So,
that
but up to this point, I'm with you. I'm like, "Ooh, she didn't realize how raw this was gonna be, and she's feeling a little hot under the collar and had to take a break."
so what came up for me is she bounces, Garcelle follows her, Sutton shares with her that she wasn't comfortable with the foral. Would I be offended? No, but I'm not Sutton. She states that she wasn't comfortable for herself. For herself. But why did Kyle have to follow them out? This is where I start
She
getting
didn't,
real pissed. She did not have to follow out. She
but
follows her.
she didn't follow them out. She just came to the bathroom to wipe off the sticky residue from her whipped cream lick down.
See, I thought that she came and sat down and then noticed that they were gone and went to go. I don't my point is that I don't hmm. Well, that might change everything, but I felt like she went to go be a fucking yenta. She had the
She
towel, and so she could have just stayed in her seat, but
She said she went in there to, like, wash down her, the parts of her that were still sticky from whipped cream, and then later when they're arguing and Sutton's like, "You should have just stayed out of it," and then Kyle says, like, "Well, then you would have accused me of, like, coming in, seeing you upset, and walking away." So it is sort of a,
Kyle sucks. Kyle sucks. Here's the thing.
But Sutton
I
does too because she tells Kyle, "Well, whipped cream is fine. That's silly and stupid." It's like, "Well, what is the problem or not the problem then, Sutton? Like,
hmm.
what you are just horny. You wanted to go first and you didn't, and now you're pouting." Like that was my read on it is that she like you said, she had expectations for how this would go and that she would be center of attention and it would be like adorable and sexy and she would feel great and,
Hmm.
you know, I don't know.
Hmm.
It just felt like an arbitrary line of like, whipped cream, fine.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
God, I wonder if I just okay, listen. This podcast is about projecting my insecurities that I break down in my own therapy and my own mental health journey. And so, yes, I am willing to look at the fact that it could be about the pants and it could be about the fact that she felt left out. Where I stand firm is that Kyle is not a safe person for Sutton to share her feelings with. And I would tell Kyle this to her face, by the way. I would tell her that she's not a safe person, and I put it on my epitaph. And
No, she's
she
happy to
yeah,
cause like, to pick at the sore. Like, Sutton's
exactly.
obviously not doing
Yes.
great, and Kyle is like, "Well, is it because you wore pants and you weren't brought on
Exactly.
stage?" Like, you know that's gonna upset her, and it did, and congratulations, you made it worse, and yeah, I'm with you. Like, she's not
She
the person you want Garcelle with you. You do not want Kyle with you if you're having a weird freak out like that.
No, exactly. And she's piling on Sutton instead of being curious about what happened or about how Sutton is feeling. And yes, she is unyieldingly assuming that it is about the pants, and I'm even willing to give it a third watch and see, like, God, is it about the pants? I
I
understand.
think
But my
everybody's right. I think it's the pants. I think she was overwhelmed by watching her friends have simulated sex on stage.
yeah.
I think it was all of it, and she just had a meltdown. She short-circuited and said American Ballet Theater and forgot that she said, "This isn't my brand," and got mad when she was like, it was she just short-circuited.
She's there to judge Sutton, and I don't like it. Like, are you kidding me? That's not what you say to your fucking friend. You don't say, "Are you kidding me?" You
No,
know,
and you
like
don't say, like when Sutton's, again, in a heightened emotional state, Kyle says to her, "Well, you didn't have to, like, walk away and make a scene. You could have just walked away." And, like, that's not helpful, Kyle. Like,
she
that's
also wasn't
poking the
there to
bear.
see Sutton walk away. She was
Mhm,
on stage getting whipped cream licked off of her. She
mhm,
wasn't there to see her walk away in a
mhm.
quote unquote huff. I don't know where she's getting the idea that she was in a huff, but that's not what she was doing. She would not treat Dorit like she's treating Sutton.
I bet she would. Kyle is
Oh,
so she loves the game, it's like she loves she in my opinion, she seems to sort of, like, get a high off of, and it's subtle. It's not like she's punching someone while they're down, she's just poking them, and it's, like, so cruel. It's like
she
death by a thousand
exactly.
paper cuts, you know?
I don't yeah. Kyle said she didn't have to cause a scene. Like you said, my blood boiled. She didn't cause a scene. She got up to leave.
Disagree.
I
She
know.
did
I
cause a scene. She put her
know.
head in her hand, she pulled her fucking phone out at a show. No. In a live theater
That is
production,
rude.
don't that is so fucking rude. You better
That is
leave.
rude.
And then she stormed off saying, like, "Fuck this, fuck," like, that is she did. She brought this on. But then
Interesting.
Kyle
Okay.
did not let the pot simmer down. She just
Yeah.
kept turning the heat up and made it worse because Sutton is reactive. There is a bullying element to that because you're going to get a reaction out of her. She can't regulate her feelings when she's turned up like that. So I don't know. It was just I don't know. I think everybody was right. I think Sutton was right. I think it did surprise her how graphic it was maybe, and maybe she, wasn't comfortable watching it. And I think she was mad that she wasn't the one that was up
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
Because
God, I
I don't
might be
think
the
she would
only
have had a
person who watches
problem.
this show that thinks that. Yeah.
No, no, I'm sure
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. My
I mean, I don't
confirmation
think that
bias is playing into this, my read on it for sure.
I the other the, I don't know if this struck you, but yeah, I don't like Kyle either when she's like the way she says, "Don't be a bitch." She's reacting to the way you are treating her. Fuck
And
off,
also,
Kyle.
she's emotional in that moment. Read the room, Kyle. Like,
Exactly. And this is
just you
yeah.
can tell her not to be a bitch once everyone's calmed down. And in 5 minutes, Sutton does say, "I'm sorry for calling you a bitch." Like, it's yeah. Kyle just does not. She's an
And
adolescent this season. She's
I
acting like a fucking
she
teenager,
is.
and
She is
it's
acting like
unpleasant.
a teenage
Mhm,
adult child. She's acting like a teenage child of an alcoholic. She
mhm,
is seeing the weak mouse and she's batting it around. This
mhm.
is where she can get her power. And again, I don't think that she would do this with Erica, and I don't think that she would do this with Dorit. That is how I feel. And it's telling when they're all in the van and they're like, what's Erica going to say? How's Erica going to react? How fucking terrifying. Now, I'm willing to say, is it because it's her friend's show and she's going to react because maybe she's going to interpret this as being disrespectful? I don't know. Or it's because it was a sexually charged event, and Erica has made it abundantly clear that she is pro sexually charged activities. Is that why they're afraid of her reaction? Is it because it's Sutton? But the fact that they're all scared of their co-worker, that was really but I just think that I think my bottom line is Kyle needs to learn how to be a fucking friend, and she disgusted me. And then Kyle manages to victimize herself when she's like, telling Sutton, don't be a bitch. I didn't think that Kyle needed to apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't think that Sutton needed to apologize. Maybe, okay, maybe for walking out, like maybe for, gosh, my reaction, again, I don't think she made a scene. I think she just got up to walk out. Looking at her phone was inappropriate. I don't think that she needed to apologize for wait, maybe I do. Maybe she did need to apologize for the length that she took it. Maybe she could have stayed in
Well,
her seat,
Kyle just
but
said, "Don't call me a bitch," and Sutton said, "I apologize for saying that." And I thought
okay.
that was, that is a and not because Kyle deserved an apology, just because you could tell Sutton was uncomfortable with how far she was going
Okay.
with this stupid Magic Mike freak out. It's Magic Mike. Like, at the end of the day, this shouldn't end a friendship of, like, pants or no pants or leaving or not leaving. This shouldn't be something that everyone is like that affects friendships in any meaningful way.
Kyle is the
Um,
first fucking person to act victimized by everything, but she's also the first fucking person that will that will make somebody else out, that will put someone else on the defensive or put them down if she senses weakness. And I do not respect people like that. I think she's a bad person.
no, and she should have just left Sutton alone for a minute because Sutton was on her way from coming down from this, you know, tantrum. But Kyle was like, "So is it about the pants? Are you mad that you wore pants?" And Sutton's like, "It's not about the motherfucking pants." And then Kyle immediately says, like, "Oh, so it's about the ballet board? Is it that? Is that what it is?" And Sutton's like, "No." Like Sutton is just, it's like, again, it's like a kid having a tantrum. The emotions are too big and they're all mixed up, and she needs space and she needs to be able to take a breath and then she will calm down. But Kyle won't allow for that. She's in her face, just like, being annoying.
My God.
And then Crystal, in this weirdly codependent moment, gets the text from Kyle. Kyle says, Sutton's upset. We're going to wait in the
Oh,
van. And Crystal's like, we have to go. Sutton is mad. And Erica and Dorit, in my opinion, appropriately refuse to leave. It is rude when cameras are recording this, the entire row of women leaves and there's actually nothing going on. It's not like someone is being taken to the hospital. It's just I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know what the fuck happened, but that was I didn't understand why Crystal on her birthday was like, we gotta go to the Sprinter van. It's like,
well, I don't know why Kyle sent the text to Crystal in the first place and said, we have to go. Sutton's upset. Sutton, I think the last thing Sutton wanted was for anybody to fucking follow her. A.
yes, I
B.
agree.
We never heard come from her mouth, I need to go. She kept telling them over and over, go back, go back. Like, go sit. You don't have to be here with me. This is just me. Garcelle and Kyle had free reign to go back to the fucking seats. For Kyle to send that text, we have to go. Sutton's upset. To me, that was full on child of an alcoholic, drama, getting up in the drama. Oh my God, we got to create drama around this thing. And Kyle couldn't just go back to her fucking seat. She
No,
could have
because
gone back to her fucking seat. Crystal, yeah, I I I feel like it was all started because of the text that Kyle sent.
but I don't understand why
Ugh,
Crystal would run out.
I
It's
don't either.
just, I mean, that was a weird. Anyways, it was just,
Yeah.
again, this is all around Magic Mike. This much drama around Magic Mike.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
and then, yeah, Sutton has her little freak out and it has an ugly moment where she turns it on Kyle and she goes, here we go again. Kyle walking into a conversation she knows nothing about. And Kyle says, now you're being a bitch. And Sutton says something about Kyle being a bitch. And then immediately steps into the sprinter van and says, look, I want to talk to you about this. And I'm sorry, I called you a bitch and we're done. It's like she had a tantrum and yeah.
I think that the key sentence is Kyle walked into something that she has nothing to do with. Just like last season, when she sees Diana and Sutton having that conversation and she's 10 fucking kinds of wasted and she walks up and she starts berating Sutton. It's Sutton that she wants to go after.
It is funny that whether she's drunk or stone cold sober,
She's an
Sutton is her
asshole.
target. Yeah.
So, they're all scared of Erica's reaction. When Dorit and Erica are walking into the Sprinter van, Dorit is piggybacking on Erica and Kyle's disgust with Sutton for her leaving. They're gross, and then I don't remember what Sutton said to Erica about like, I'm sorry. And then Erica says the internal boundary out loud. Listen, I'm not going to let your behavior take this smile off my face. It's like, that is not what you say out loud. That is called an internal boundary. The internal boundary is what you say to yourself before you go to the event. You say, I am going to let everything roll off my back. Saying it out loud, it felt like her intentions were she was saying the right things. She was saying the things that she learns in therapy, but the intentions behind her words when she said that were to judge Sutton.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I
And
yeah,
and
but
yeah,
I did it but she also I mean, this is where I can't believe it's around Magic Mike, but Sutton claims she was offended by the spread eagle thing with the face and the crotch, and Erica is right. She said, "We went to Magic Mike. We knew what we were getting into." And
and it was
in
my
that
dance
regard
partner of
yeah,
years,
and in
yeah.
that regard and Erica, if I'm Erica, I'm offended at Sutton for walking out on a show that I got you tickets to.
Very
Again,
fair.
cameras are on this row of people. You told these dancers every one of them would be coming up on stage. That's what they prepared for, and you walked out and Garcelle and Kyle followed and it made a big scene. And it's like I wasn't weirdly for once in my life, I wasn't mad at Erica in this moment. I think I would have been on edge too. And I would have said something,
Hmm.
pointed and potentially shitty, but nothing that I couldn't recover from down the line. Like, you're right. Like Sutton is the easiest target, and everyone is hitting her in this episode. But yeah, in this moment, I was
Everyone,
like, yeah,
everyone.
this was but I also thought Dorit was right. It is rude for this whole group to get up and leave. Like, if you were doing a show and you knew that 10 of your friends were coming, cameras were going to be there, and you made special arrangements with the cast to include them in the performance, and then halfway through, they gone, like, I would be like,
Yeah.
"That sucks."
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Because believe it or not, people, if you are in a live if you're there to watch a live performance, the performers on stage can see what you're doing in the audience. You can see everything. And it's out of your peripheral vision or whatever, but you can see if someone's on the phone, you can see if someone's talking, you can see if people are walking in or out. You can see it. And
I
yes,
mean, and
that
again,
is
it's
it's
Vegas,
very
it's
valid.
Magic Mike, but
Right.
but I also need to temper this with like, it's not Broadway. In Vegas, I'm sure people like throw up in their hands because they're drank too much. Like, it's not,
Gross.
you know what I mean?
Or
That
they're
is
on
not the
Ozempic.
venue.
Yes.
Yeah, there's not the venue where I think everyone would expect the most refined behavior. But it's still, this was just wild. And I thought Crystal had a good sentiment when Sutton said, I got upset seeing you all on that stage like that. And Crystal said, "How do you feel about the fact that we don't feel upset?" I was like, "Oh, that was a very, like Aladani statement of like, stay on your side of the street, stay in your own hula hoop."
Erica guffaws. You could tell that when Erica is laughs after that Crystal comment, she's just sticking that knife in and twisting it. She's sticking it into Sutton and she's twisting it. Again, Erica thinks that just because she's using certain words, it does not mean that her actions aren't speaking louder than her words. So she could be thinking that she is behaving in a very therapized way. She is not. She is judging Sutton without using words. And when Sutton reacts to Crystal's question, she says, "You know what? That's a good question. That is a good question." She got curious, which is one of the things that when you are on a mental health journey, this is one thing that I try to employ more of. I judge myself and I'm critical of myself a lot, which can translate into me being judgmental and critical of other things. And while we cannot control a thought that comes up naturally and organically, we can control our reaction to that thought. So, the loving response I can have to a critical thought is, why am I thinking about that? Why am I having that reaction to that thought? Let me get curious instead of just like, answering. And so I was inspired by Sutton in that moment. I think, okay, I had a thought earlier. I feel that I have been Sutton. I feel like I have been Sutton in the past, either in a friend group dynamic or in a group setting. I feel that I have been the Sutton. I have often felt like I was the odd one or
I
the
have 2, the
fat one
hypersensitive
or
one, like yeah.
hypersensitivity, yes. And so
Yeah, I've
and
always
I
Sutton.
and because I am an adult child of an alcoholic and because, I have my hypervigilance muscle was, tight and strong and high because of being an adult child of an alcoholic, you get hypervigilant because if you don't determine what other people's behavior is, words mean shit. Behavior speaks louder than anything. So I know Erica's behavior. I know Dorit's behavior and I know Kyle's behavior. They don't have to be saying words, guffawing like that when Crystal asks that question. That speaks louder than anything. And so
I do think Eric is making progress though, and trust me, I know I'm gonna eat my words and she will be an absolute monster, but if she has been in therapy for 2.5 years, this is a better outcome than what we might have experienced before, where she would have said something so charged and hurtful and directed at
okay.
Sutton's insecurities. So to guffaw and make sort of a shitty comment, I'm like, well, that's progress. That's like better than what everyone had anticipated is that Erica would come in. And Erica, outside of the bus, was warming up to come in. She's sitting there like Judge Judy. Blah, blah. She could have come in and gone off, but she did it different this time. And I'm not saying she's a good person. I'm just saying that I noticed that it wasn't as bad as it has been in the past, and it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But she's still Erica, so
Yeah.
that's never going away.
God, I mean, I see during this conversation that we're having how much I am projecting, how much I'm relating to Sutton and how much I'm projecting my own watching Sutton in this episode really and the fact that I could relate to her so much really it's humbling, it's strange, it's not ever anything I thought that could I would have. I did not expect this. It's
No,
very odd.
and I relate to her too, and I think maybe you and I just had, like, a different experience of her experience. Like, I've had the experience of being the one who's sensitive and picked on, and
Mhm.
it feels like I'm being excluded
Yes,
intentionally and that people
yes,
are having fun doing that. I've
yes.
also been the version of Sutton, which is how I interpreted this one, where I have an absolutely unregulated freak out and realize it and then have a hard time not even have a hard time. It just takes a minute to go through the cycle of like huge freak out, trying to figure out, is this real or not? Oh my God, it's not real. Oh my God, I'm so fucking embarrassed.
Oh,
Oh God, I want to say I'm sorry and get past this. So and that was how I interpreted this is like, she just had, something took hold of her and it affected other people. And there wasn't any there really. It was just like, you know, but I relate very much to Sutton more than anyone else. Sutton and Garcelle are, they're the reflections of the
totally.
people that I am or know in my life.
Oh my god. I mean,
Um,
it's so funny, Margie, like, we're over an hour in, and I thought, "Okay, this episode had 2 really knockout scenes." They had the Magic Mike freak out and then the conversation at the end with Garcelle, but everything else was kind of like, "Eh," and I thought like, "Oh, yeah, we'll be done with this one in an hour." No, because again, I relate so hard to Sutton Stracke in this one, so
yeah.
we move on to
Well,
dinner.
now we do
Do you have
get
anything else to
into
say about the
yeah.
Sprinter van?
No, I'm good on
Um
Magic Mike.
Sutton apologizes to Erica at dinner again. Erica, again, she says with her words that she's unbothered. I feel that her energy is communicating otherwise. She might not be bothered, but she has ammunition now. She might not be bothered, but she's judging. She's criticizing. She hates Sutton Stracke. She hates her.
But in this moment, this is when I turned on Erica because And I'm glad Sutton didn't acknowledge that because you're absolutely right. Of course, Erica said I'm unbothered, and it was so loaded with bother, it came out of my TV and punched me in the face. But there's nothing really serious at play here. So either Erica can express like, I'm mortally wounded that you walked out on this show. I'll never get over it, or everyone will get over this because it's not that big a deal. Sutton freaked out. She
Huh.
left in a way that was high profile. Erica's pissed because her friends did her a solid and they didn't get the outcome she expected.
True.
So I'm glad that nobody went harder in the paint with this one because it's like, who
Okay.
really cares? And maybe it's because it's in such stark contrast to what comes next that does really matter and is really, it does really affect friendships on a deep and possibly, if I'm Garcelle, a permanent way. I'm done with Dorit and
Absolutely.
Kyle, because when they played
Abso-fucking-lutely.
that sorry, I should say, they're having dinner and Garcelle reports that tomorrow she'll be having lunch with her son Oliver, and this is one of 3 sons, and the one of those other sons was on the receiving end of Erica saying "fuck off" last year.
14.
14 years old and, like, doing
14 years old.
just coming to collect a flower for his mom, like, not there to get in anyone's face, he
Nope.
wasn't doing a damn
Nope.
thing, and then we flash back to this scene that's gotten even more hideous in retrospect of the scene of Kyle and Mauricio and Dorit and PK, and Kyle in this gossipy tone that is becoming like really pronounced and familiar now that I hate, she initiates this conversation and she goes, "Guys, did you miss what Erica said to Garcelle's son?" She didn't say, "Did you hear?" She said, "Did you miss it? You weren't there for the moment." And she clarifies, "Did you miss what Erica said to Garcelle's son, the 14-year-old? She told him to fuck off." Giggle, giggle, giggle. And Dorit, to her credit, looks a little disturbed and says, "I was there." And Kyle keeps laughing and says, "It's not funny, but it's funny." And I was just like, Jesus Christ, Kyle. And Mauricio can go straight to hell because he goes, I think it's great she did that. And then they all laugh. And then PK goes off even further. And Dorit did appear to have some remorse, but I'm with Garcelle, or I'm with Sutton later on, where she says, if you don't speak up to your husband who's talking shit about your friend's 14-year-old child, you suck. Silence is compliance. When there's 3 hyenas cackling at the expense of a 14-year-old, if you don't stand up and say, like, "Hey, stop it. This is gross. It's already gone too far. Let's move on, you creeps," then you're awful. You're one of my least favorite types of people because you think you're clear. You think you got out of this unscathed. No, you're just as liable as everyone else in that room. Ew.
Horrifying. And fucking racist.
100%.
Fucking
Whether it's
racist.
unconscious bias or absolute racism, it was present in that moment. It was
It was
4 rich
racist.
white people laughing at the expense of a young boy of color. That's a problem.
Yep. Part of how racism is put upon Black children is that they are seen as being older than their age. And those 4 fucking pieces of shit in Kyle's living room were being racist fucking assholes. And I fucking hate them. And I fucking hope that Garcelle, listen, if Garcelle never wants to talk about her kids with them again, co-fucking sign. I'll come up and pipe up from her behind and go, yeah, like they are such fucking monsters. And Kyle laughed. And if anyone
Kyle
thinks
initiated
for
it.
a
It was
minute,
gross.
exactly, she is a shit stirrer. Again, when she can seize a moment where she's not, you know, under Kathy or Kim, when just, she I'm so mad. I'm so mad. If any of us think for a minute that Kyle and or Dorit would not respond the same way if their precious Jagger or Portia or Phoenix
They
or
should. They should.
any of them. If they think
Those
for if
kids
you
are
think for a minute,
precious. Like they should respond
they
the same way. Like it's gross. And what you're
they
saying, it's
would. I'm sure that Dorit would shit a fucking ton of bricks.
she
Kyle
should.
would cry,
She should.
and
It's
the
gross
fact that
behavior.
yeah,
I cannot
fuck these
conceive of an
assholes.
angle on that exchange
Mm-mm.
that could be interpreted as funny at all. And it makes
No.
Kyle's apology seem so what's the word? Insufficient. Because she initiated that conversation. She said, I mean, it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. She let her
Fuck off.
husband
Yeah.
say it was great that that happened. Like, if that had happened, look, people aren't going to be perfect. Everyone will screw up, but that is on camera. She's watched it back. For the rest of my life, I would just say to Garcelle, I understand if you never want to trust me again. I'm mortified by that behavior. I will spend the rest of my life trying to correct my thinking so I never get to that place again. And I will try to earn your trust back, but I understand that's an uphill battle. Leave it there. And then honestly, that would open the door. But to be defensive about it, that is indefensible. There's a kid involved.
There's no way to defend it.
And you can't be mad at
He's a
the
kid.
mom.
He is a child.
Well, and you can't be mad at the mom for saying, and Garcelle didn't say, like, fuck you guys forever. I'm not telling you. She literally said, I'm not sure if I trust you with my family, talking about my family. And the implied part of that is yet. The door is open for you to earn my trust. But, like, can't you understand why I would want to do everything in my power not to put my children in the line of fire like that? Because again, this happened on broadcast television. This kid has friends. Like, and Erica, oh my God, I can't. I mean, you would never see me drink again if I ever get to the point where I'm drunk enough to
But
say
Margie,
fuck you
she's
to a.
not on Lexapro
Oh,
anymore.
right. That was the problem.
She's
Great.
not on Lexapro anymore because Lexapro was the thing that, Lexapro was the one that made her act like
Yeah, no,
that. Fuck
definitely,
off.
definitely don't balance the chemicals in your brain with medication and definitely
Mm-mm.
just keep drinking. But yeah, this was really
God, my booth
and
door is all steamed up because I'm so mad.
I love it. I mean, we sort of the rest of this dinner wasn't interesting to me. Sutton eats a fishball, and yes, it is gross. They play this card game, and I guess everyone
See,
thinks their nipples are the best.
I
And
had I had a different reaction
oh,
to
uh,
Sutton to the Sutton eating. This is again, I what I did during this episode apparently is write an essay proving my point as to why they are bullying her. They're judging her for how she
yeah.
eats. It's evidence that they are not interested in respecting her. They're piling on her and bullying her for sport. I was very upset and very uncomfortable. And it was telling me, it was telling for me when Erica says, now we know why there's no second date. And Kyle laughs extra hard and extra
I
loud.
mean, but to
Again, it's
me,
that shit that
it's just, and this is why I love Sutton, because Sutton is unbothered. She doesn't go ahead, laugh at me. Your husband's going to prison, you ass. Go ahead, laugh at me. Your marriage is falling apart. I'm so rich. I get $300,000 a minute from my ex, and I'm building an empire. Laugh. I'll eat my fishbowl however the fuck I want. You're going to court for the rest of your life, Erica. Enjoy. You're going to be figuring out
too
breaking from your
motherfucking
husband financially.
shay.
It just, and that's why Sutton's reaction made sense to me. Eat your fishbowl however you want. It's not gross enough to equal stealing money from victims of fires and plane crashes. It's just not that gross. You're grosser, Erica. So that's fine.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's just, it's such a proof of, to me, of
Man.
like the bullies are the ones who are covering their own pain and damage. And it's not acceptable, but I love that Sutton is in a place where she can shrug it off because it's just, if you want to get into the argument, guys, you're
I,
going to
you're
lose. So
right.
I'll just eat my fishbowl. You're welcome. And I'll name a
You know
country
what?
song that
You're
I fucked
absolutely
to.
right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh my God. Yeah, the sex game was I didn't have shit to say
It was
about
just,
that. It was a nice
I
reprieve.
know.
I don't know if you picked up on, so we're going home, there's a bedtime montage. The one thing that stuck out to me, and again, this goes to my own mental health, is Sutton needed a lot of adjustments in order to get comfortable to go to
Hmm.
sleep. I learned through my diagnosis of ADHD that the things you need in order to create an environment for you to sleep, especially I'm a very bad sleeper, I'm a terrible sleeper. Okay, I'm going to rephrase this. I am getting better at becoming a good sleeper. But I need an eye mask. I need a fan. I need a body pillow. I need a regular pillow, and I need the pillow that goes under my head. I need a pillow to hug. I need a podcast to turn my chats off in my mind. I'm not saying that Sutton has ADHD. I'm saying that I have ADHD, and all my little things I need to do to get comfortable to go to sleep or just to shut my eyes, not counting, like, how many times I have to, like, position myself once I'm actually in the bed. Yeah, I need a lot to go to
I
sleep.
mean,
My
yeah.
husband can go to bed, he can just go his head hits the pillow and he's snoring.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
so jealous.
I thought this was, like, adorable. It made me laugh so hard because again, I relate to Sutton too. I'm the same way. Like, I want the blackout curtains closed, but I want a little bit open so that I know when it's morning so that I don't wake up. Like, I'm mental like that too. And I thought it was so her and Garcelle are so cute and funny. Like, she says, "Is it okay if I read some stuff?" And Garcelle goes, "I don't care if you burn." She's, like, just trying to go to bed. It's
I
so
loved it.
cute.
I don't care if you burn, just go to bed,
But
I
I do
know.
think
Oh
this
my
to me
god.
is the moment, like that dinner and this moment is to me was Sutton trying to buy back her freak out about the overtly sexual stuff she had watched. Because
Hmm.
at dinner she talks about fucking twice a day. She talks about how she has all the vibrators and dildos ever made. Here, she opens up a conversation saying if you use vibrators too much, you can, like
Oh,
anesthetize your
right.
clitoris. And then she goes to bed reading a book about tantric sex. Okay, you've corrected it, Sutton. We get it. You're cool with sex. Like to me, that was like, this is where I fully leaned into like, it was about the pants, because she doesn't want to be
Got it.
seen as a
Okay,
prude. She's not
okay.
a prude, but she just had a full cycle of expectation, disappointment, emotional freak
These are
out.
all such valid
I mean,
points.
I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I just was like enjoying this little scene between her and Garcelle, maybe just because I love her and Garcelle. They remind me of sisters. That's how I would talk to my sister. I would
Yeah.
move the curtains more just to like bother her a little bit and wait for her to get to the point where she says she wants to see me burn. Like it's
I don't
fine.
care if you burn. I don't care if you
That was
burn. Yeah,
amazing.
that was hilarious. So morning comes and they judge Kyle. Well, I don't know if Garcelle and Sutton do, but Kyle's closest friends and allies in this group judge Kyle for going to work out. Like an abundant amount of judging.
Yeah,
Who
I
gives a
had no
shit?
judgment about her working out. She looks amazing.
Me either.
And I did judge her bringing her Birkin bag to the gym and putting it on the floor. That bothered me because isn't
Ugh.
that like a work of art and isn't it the price of a car? And
I don't put any purses on the
yeah,
floor. That's a thing about I don't put my fucking
and
purse
you
on the
don't need to
floor.
bring your
I don't care
purse
if it's
to a
like
hotel
mm,
gym. Everything you need is up in your room. And a hotel like that would clearly have like every amenity. Anyways, that felt a little look at me. But other than that, I thought Kyle looked great, and it honestly made me miss I used to be that person who would get up early and go to the gym no matter what, and I was like, I wonder if I want that version of me back." I'm not making any commitments. I just
yeah.
had that feeling of like, "Ooh,
It did make me wanna work out with
I just
weights.
remembered how good that felt to like first thing in the morning, it's out of the way,
It
you get a
does.
rush of endorphins, which puts my depression, it puts it a little
One
further
hundy.
in the background. It'll still creep up on me during the day, but I get a much bigger head start when I do that. So, yeah,
No, that's
yeah,
true.
I envied her.
Erica does say that that Kyle is living in extremes right now,
Yeah, no, I think that
and
was
we can
Dorit,
see that
right?
from the press. Did she I thought it was
Oh,
Erica that said it, but
either way,
yeah.
I think that's true. Like, and that whoever said it even explicitly broke it down. She's not drinking at all. She's not just exercising, she's exercising at 5. Like, it is,
Mm-mm.
they said it's unsustainable. But I also am sympathetic to like when you're
She's
going,
coping.
yes,
It's
it
her
works
control.
until it doesn't, and it's working right now.
Right.
And,
It does.
it's not harming anyone else that I can
Yeah.
tell. Not drinking and, exercising at the crack of dawn, unless it's damaging someone else, seems like a pretty good way to act out to me. That's why I ran marathons after
It
all of my
does.
big
It does.
breakups
It's
because I didn't wanna
oh my god,
devolve
you
into
did.
whatever.
Oof.
And then, yeah,
We have
mhm,
breakfast.
and this is yeah.
Sutton is having her vacation bacon.
Oh my god, she's so
And Crystal is wearing a sweatshirt that says "Straight Outta Costco," and I fucking loved it.
hilarious.
So, yeah, this is, Margie and I already touched on this a little bit, but this is where Garcelle says she feels disingenuous about, what she said last night, and she doesn't know if she trusts her friends when it comes to her
And,
family.
like, in a
Cosign,
normal friend
Garcelle.
group, I thought this was so lovely how she presented it. She said, basically, like, "I was withholding information from you last night, and I'm not comfortable
Yep.
doing that because 'cause you're my friends. Here's what's really going on." And then she got the worst. Dorita's defensive, saying she didn't laugh at Jax. It doesn't matter. You laughed at the other monsters who were disparaging him. And I love Garcelle. Dorit goes, "I didn't laugh at Jax." And Garcelle goes, "I know you said that." And what a fantastic answer, because it's like, I know that you said that and perhaps you believe it, but the truth is you caused problems. And then Dorit, it's been over a year.
Oh,
Oh my God, how dare you?
she has, yeah. She starts her descent into her racist judging again. Again, she
Well,
does,
I
and
mean,
it
she's just
it
defensive on every level.
infuriated me.
And she says, I'm not like, you know me, I'm not a bad person." And Garcelle, God bless her for being present enough to not go off on her. She's like, "I'm not saying you're a bad person. I didn't say that at all. Nobody's judging you as a person. I'm saying there's a specific instance on camera, if you need to refresh your memory, that makes me hesitant to share things about just these three particular people in my life. That's it. Nobody said you're a bad person. Nobody said your PTSD is fake. Nobody said anything." And I love Garcelle for saying, "You're making me feel like I have to apologize to you for how you feel about how I feel." It's like, this is
Yes, yes.
absolutely insanity. Just,
It is.
and
Yeah.
at Garcelle saying, in tears, which I related to very much, "Why can't you just understand how I feel?" And that is it. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to fix it. Just understand how I feel. And it's insane to me that these women can't take a breath and be like, "I understand how you feel." Like,
The white ladies have to be the white ladies are feeling judged. They're feeling judged because they said they were sorry. And it makes me real angry that you can't accept my
but I
apology.
mean,
Fuck
and
off. It was disgusting. Four adults were laughing about a situation. Two of them were judging it. And the other two were letting it fucking happen.
yeah,
No,
it's
I don't care if it's been 10 years. This is not
well, and
okay.
also, I think this is the piece of apologies that, like, lots of people in my life, at least, and myself sometimes as well, forget. When you apologize, it's not over. The apology is the beginning of a healing process, and that involves a lot of discomfort and patience. Like, I may have shared this.
That is
Yeah,
yes,
I may have
yes,
shared this story
yes. It
before.
requires discomfort and
Yeah.
patience, and Dorit does not feel like giving that. She's not willing
I don't
to.
even know if she knows
It's on
that's what you
her
have to
timeline.
do. Like, some people think, "But I
Oh my
said I'm
god.
sorry. How can you still be mad?" It's like, well,
Right. It
it
doesn't
it
matter.
lets me know that you acknowledge something bad happened, but if you slice me open with a knife and say, "I'm sorry," the cut doesn't just heal and we go back to like, there's a lot. We have to clean
Right.
it, we have to tend to it, we have to wait for it to scab and scar, and, like, this whole thing of, like, "But I said I'm sorry," is my least favorite response to, like, I'm still in pain.
Because it completely evades any responsibility or any validation of feelings.
Yeah, and it
And
yeah.
then yeah.
No, it's an attempt to
No.
spare you from your own feelings, because if you had to sit still
Exactly.
and realize that, like, this hurt that you caused is going to change your friendship forever. You're gonna have to navigate a new way through your friendship now because of a betrayal of sorts has happened. It has happened. It is now part of this friendship
Mm-mm.
history, and you can't go back to. You can't. What that was too impactful. Like, Magic Mike, you can go back to. Who gives it? Like, nobody, that's fine. Nobody cares whose pants or freak out. Like, it's all gonna be in 24 hours, no one will remember it happened. This, if I'm Garcelle, I hold on to it for the rest of my life. And anytime those people, like, if someone kicked my
Fuck
dog and
yeah.
said, "I'm sorry," that's fine. But every time they're in my house, I'm going to have an extra eye on my dog and on them forever. That's it. You kick something I love. And if you can't understand why that will affect the dynamic of this relationship forever, or at least until lots of time has passed and trust has been rebuilt, then, like, you're crazy, right?
I wonder if Dorit if Jax was in the room, would she still feel this fucking high and mighty and entitled to brush off Garcelle's feelings? The thing that made me so infuriated and lose any shred of respect I had gained for Dorit in the previous 2 episodes is when her solution is that she won't say anything anymore, no matter what, because she doesn't wanna risk offending Garcelle. Of all the shit, manipulative, missing the point ways to invalidate your quote unquote
You
"friend,"
punish them. You say, "I'm gonna
I
withdraw
was
my friendship.
mortified.
I'm gonna withdraw my friendship now."
You're
That's
right.
what you get
I just won't
for telling me
I just won't yeah, I guess I just won't say anything because whatever I say isn't gonna be good enough for
you're not
you, and
listening.
it won't be accepted. No, you're not
It's
listening.
and
Fucking
that's
asshole. Fucking child
well, and
asshole.
it's also, again,
This is I
it's
yeah.
just another tactic to avoid the discomfort of your own feelings.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
and it's not about Jax, and I appreciated Garcelle for saying that. She's like, "It's not about Jax, it's about me." And Dorit is like, "Well, I'm a mom," and she said, "It's not about you being a mom, it's about me." Like, everybody cannot seem to focus on Garcelle is saying, "I am upset. It is affecting our friendship. You guys aren't in relationship with Jax. It's not about that. It's about me. You hurt me because you hurt something, as everyone says, it's a little piece of your heart that's wandering around outside in the world on its own." And
Exactly.
yeah, but
Exactly.
they won't personalize it. They won't consider what it would have been like if four people had been cackling at the expense of, like you said, Jagger or Phoenix or any one of Kyle's daughters. No matter the age, it
You
doesn't
know
matter if they're babies,
yeah.
kids, or full-blown adults.
Uh-uh.
They're still a mom's kid. Erica's a grown adult. She knows that that was terrible, and it's not even to me, that had happened is awful. The distancing yourself from responsibility makes it a million times worse. I just
Yep.
say that's the worst thing I've ever done. I couldn't imagine that could ever even come out of my body. I absolutely understand if you never want to talk to me about your children again. I will never ask when you're ready. Like, I just can't even imagine being defensive in any way. It's truly maddening to me. I cannot come up with any rationale for like how these people are like, yeah, no, I'm in the right here. It's like, you're not.
Oh my god. The audacity. The fucking audacity. Jesus Christ. I mean, Dorit didn't even have to ask for compassion from her co-stars last year when she went through her robbery that PK may or may not have allegedly orchestrated behind his wife's back. None of them are gonna say to her, "It's been a year." These are comparing apples and oranges. All I'm saying is that shut the fuck up and look at yourself in the mirror. If you think for a minute that the reaction you're having to Garcelle is in any way, shape, or form okay. I am so mad right now, I could
Yeah.
cry.
I mean, and it really, to me, it's just like, listen to your friend. She's not even coming at you about all of the bigger issues that play here. She's just saying, I'm asking you to understand how I might feel like this. And they just won't do it. They just won't set aside their defensiveness. They won't just sit with her and understand that a mom is upset because an adult in this room insulted him and the rest of you laughed. Like, I just, it's preposterous.
And it's probably to do with the fact that I if they are if they have a shred of decency in their souls, maybe it's that they're still so mortified and
For
ashamed that
sure.
they did this and it's caught on camera,
Yeah.
and it's being that's what's underneath their lack of compassion or validation for Garcelle, but that's not they need to, like, deal with that in fucking post, you know what I mean? Like, they need to take that up with their, therapists,
They
and
wouldn't be so
I
defensive if they weren't aware that what they did is indefensible.
it's
They're trying
indefensible.
to soften the blow of a knockout punch. You just can't. The guy's already
Yeah.
on the ground. So
No.
now you have to deal with picking him up and cleaning up the mess. Like, but they refuse. And it
Wow.
has been a year and they still refuse. After a year, they still have no perspective on this. Like, It's so Beverly Hills, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is. My God, Ramona, you are watching a reality show. But I'm also on a podcast where we talk about the intersection of reality TV and therapy, and these are things that really clearly still poke at my bruised parts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that it was a powerful, powerful scene. This episode was really, I really didn't think it was gonna. Oh, I am Sutton. Dorit sucks, and so does Kyle. And we're
Yeah,
done.
that's it.
Just kidding. Yeah, that's it. I can't wait to see next week. I mean, so far again, this season's really, really giving a lot of valid content.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, this is why it's great to do this podcast with you because the whole, the first 40 minutes of this, I was like, yeah, God, who cares? Sutton didn't wear pants. She got horny and didn't get grinded on. Who cares? But there's so much more in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is, they left us with lots to be interested in for next week. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What else did you watch this week, friend?
The only thing I can remember in this moment is Salt Lake City, of course. Salt Lake City is just delivering like crazy.
Damn.
And
Damn.
yeah, I'm sure I watched something else, but I can't think of it. I watched football. That's the truth. We're getting to the good parts of college football. Michigan is going through a big, huge scandal right now involving sign stealing, and it's terrible, but I'm still watching.
Oof.
Yeah, just again, it's all the same stuff we talk about here. It's you. They don't have. They're an amazing team with an amazing coach, and they stole signs, which means they understand how the other team is going to operate in the game. Yeah, which is
Oh.
100% illegal. So we've been winning all of these games like 45-0, 38-0. So it's just so like, oh my God, either steal signs and be like a little more subtle about it, or don't. You're a really good team. And I feel bad for these kids. It fucks with their, NFL draft placement. And like, I'm just,
Yeah. This
and
is
they,
plus like, does it feel good to win that
no,
way?
but they've been doing it for 3 years, which is when we just started
Holy
getting good.
shit.
Like, it's so disappointing. I hope this isn't.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
don't know what's gonna
God.
happen, but anyway, so I was deep into Michigan football scandal and Michigan football games, which guess what? We won. But it was like 48-0 again, like who could guess it? Oy. And we are really good. I
I
feel
will
bad for
literally
the
know.
athletes that it's all the coaches who stole the signs and the athletes are
Of
working their
course.
asses off and they are great. It's too bad they didn't get a chance to have like true competition because the adults can't live in reality and just ugh. Anyways,
It's
so
disgusting.
it's just
That's really
unnecessary. And I get it.
it
I know
is.
it's why, but Michigan relies on sports for to drum up big donations. I totally understand there's a ton of pressure, but like at what point do you can't anyone draw a line? Like anyways, I'll keep you posted.
Ugh, please. This is yeah. Listen, I'll know that I don't know if I believe in heaven or hell. I don't know, TBD, but I will know that I'm in an afterlife that is going to show me that I did not live in a favorable way if I am stuck folding all of Josh's mountains and mountains of black t-shirts and listening to football being played in the background. That is how I will know I was not a good person as I walked this
It's
mortal
so
coil.
funny. We are so yin and yang because you know how
I
much I
know, I
love to
know,
fold a
I
t-shirt. I
know,
love folding
I
and I
know.
love
Oh,
football. It's
God.
my favorite thing. So your version of hell is my version of heaven. Oh,
Ugh.
just give me piles of clothes
It's
to
just Josh has
fold and football to watch.
hundreds and hundreds of the
I
same
know.
black t-shirt, and I when I fold them, I just get so I'll fold underwear, I'll match socks, but folding black t-shirts over and over again just makes me just fucking freak out.
Well, and like 15 years of
Whew.
it is, at a certain point, I'm sure it starts to wear on a person. Like, you know.
Oh my God. Let's see. I watched too much Bravocon over the weekend. Clearly, that it showed up in my fucking ketamine trip yesterday. I caught up from Miami from last week. Alexia sucks. TLDR, Alexia sucks. And I watched Potomac, the Potomac premiere, Salt Lake. What the fuck else? Oh, and just caught up on the morning show, which I
Oh
love.
yeah.
I love that show so much. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. What was your antidepressant this week?
My antidepressant is it's sort of future tripping, which we're not supposed to do, but it's what's on my mind. My mom's twin sister and her husband are coming,
Oh,
my aunt and uncle, and my mom and her twin just turned 82. And that's just like a big deal. I'm just having one of these moments where I'm trying to like drop into like life is precious, every moment is precious, every moment of lucidity is precious. My mom is, some of that is starting to slip a little bit, so I'm trying to just be like super
ugh,
conscious. She's 82. It's like, it's amazing how sturdy she's been to this point. But I'm going to really just I've been talking a lot with my mom about she's been telling me about, her granddad who, he made red wine in a bathtub during Prohibition. And my mom, when she was little,
oh
walked in
yeah.
and thought someone had died. And like her
Oh,
dad, my granddaddy, had a bootlegger who would pull up into their driveway and turn the lights off and hand off gin. There's alcoholism in my family. Can you see? Like, and my
I
mom's
mean,
not a
who
big
among
drinker,
us?
but lo and behold, she's a huge Al-Anon. But I just am loving hearing all of these stories from like, my mom's grandpa left the potato famine and came here in the bottom of a disgusting wooden boat and made a whole now there's generations of us here. Like it's kind of amazing to me. I'm just in one of these moments where like families are resilient and incredible and totally fucked up, but I'm trying to lean into like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
learning some more history before these the people who hold our history move on to fold laundry and listen to football
Totally.
or whatever.
Oh my god. Whenever Margie comes to visit, she and I here's the thing. I'll do loads of laundry. I'll put it on the couch, and my intention every time I do this is that I will put on some shitty TV or just TV in general, and I will fold. Now, has there been laundry sitting on my couch since Monday? Yes. Is it folded? No. Have I watched TV? Yes, I have. So Margie comes to visit, and she actually likes to fold the laundry. I feel mortified
I can't
that she
wait
is
for you to get over
folding
that.
our laundry.
It's so
But I'm
satisfying.
so grateful
I
when you do
love a
it. My
task with a
God.
beginning, middle, and end. It just is
Oh,
I love a
bless.
pile of folded clothes. It's so lovely. I miss it. I'll come
Oh,
fold t-shirts soon.
thank you. My antidepressant literally was an antidepressant. Yesterday, I got to do ketamine in the office, which is a huge treat. I love my doctor. I love the therapist that sits with me. And I love that I feel completely 180 degrees different than I did before I went yesterday. And then a little moment today. Josh usually walks Leo to school because I am not a morning person. And today, Josh had to go work in the city. So I walked Leo to school and we got up really early. He came into our bed last night. We had some nice snuggles. I got up really early this morning, early enough where I could do I'm doing a menorah paint by numbers right now, getting ready to hang it for
Oh.
Hanukkah. And when I get up that early in the morning, he's playing with his Hot Wheels while I'm doing a paint by numbers and it's not even 7:30 and it was just really a really nice way to start the day. And I have the house to myself today. So I have lots to be grateful for. And I sent an email that I've been meaning to send for the last 3 weeks. I sent it before you and I started recording this morning. So I feel very grateful for little life
Today is a
things
good day.
and the big and the ketamine therapy. Yes, today's a very good
Yeah.
day.
And
Thank
sending that email, I wonder if that's a result of the
thankful.
ketamine therapy, just relaxing your
Oh, a
brain around the
100%.
tension.
100%
Yeah,
it
that's
was.
so cool.
Yes. You guys, thank you so much again for sticking through it with another, mega long, extra fat episode. But Beverly Hills is giving us a lot to work
Yeah.
with, and we're hoping that you're enjoying it. You can reach us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. Our Instagram is at A Therapeutic Dose. Rate, review, subscribe. On my knees, begging, pleading, please. It helps so much if you're enjoying it. Pass it on to your friend. And Margie, do you want to give a plug to your other social media account where people can put a face to the name of your
Of the
adorable
dog? Oh,
dog that is
sure.
in the background of every
Oh,
time that
my
we
dog,
record?
I dress my dog up in costumes because that's something that started during the pandemic, and I refuse to give it up. So she has accounts on Instagram and TikTok. Evelyn wears outfits.
Are there any
Yes,
underscores in
Evelyn
there?
underscore
Okay.
wears underscore outfits, but there aren't a lot of Evelyns. there's like one other like cute 20 something who's a girl who wears outfits that are really cute. And then there's a dog in a grandma suit. So like that's you'll be able to figure out who's who.
She's so cute, and she's so patient, and she's just got the, like, sweetest eyes, and she just
I
indulges
know.
Margie in these ridiculous costumes, and it looks absurd,
She
and I
gets
love it
lots
so
of
much,
treats
and
and playtime just so people don't think I'm abusing her. So
N
it's a
no, she absolutely is not abusing her, I promise you. Everyone, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week. We'll be back again next week with another episode of A Therapeutic Dose, where we talk about the women of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
bye everybody.
Bye! Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.